Good morning, guys. Welcome back to my channel. And today we are going to do chapter number 5, that is the equity analysis. And we will be covering today fundamental analysis. Important things that I need to tell you is that these are the topics that we have already covered in the last 4 to 5 videos. You need to check it out before you move, forward in this particular unit, because now we have started another unit, which is equity valuation. And the portfolio unit also consists the concept of mutual fund. I believe that this should be done a little later. Once we complete the bond and equity, we will again move back to the mutual fund. Of course, share, subscribe, like, and comment. Okay. Since 12th or 11th, we have been studying the two concepts, that is the debt and the equity. How do you think they are different from each other? I think we all are now grown up to understand the difference between these two particular terms. Okay, fixed income and variable income. Fixed income securities and variable income securities. What do you think are those? Fixed income securities is debt and variable income security is equity. How? Because you will be getting a fixed kind of interest, fixed payment of interest. Okay? And equity means you do not get any kind of fixed payments. You may or may not get a dividend. Again, this is not compulsory. This will depend upon the company's profits. If it earns sufficient amount of profits, it might give you dividend. Okay? And if it does not have sufficient profits, it may not give you dividends. So what do you think risk ज़्यादा किस में होता होगा? Risk is definitely in equity and less in debt. Why? Because equity is considering your investment for a very long period of time, and also it is giving you returns on very variable basis, which means your dividends you may or may not collect the dividend. The only source of income is the capital appreciation of the share price, that is increase in the share price over a period of time. So that is the kind of income you earn. It is obviously very risky also, because at the time of liquidation of a company, the equities are the at the lower preference and debt are the one given higher preference. They are the ones who are made payment first when you sell all the assets at the time of liquidation. So of course, once we compare the securities on the basis of riskiness, the equity is more risky than the debt. Redemption period, obviously debt has a fixed redemption period कि मैंने लोन लिया है 10 साल के लिए लिया 20 साल के लिए लिया. But equity, again, equity does not have any redemption period. It may be you may be here contradict with me a bit कि redeemable preference shares भी होते हैं, but that's a different kind of story. We are here considering only the equity and the debt. Okay, simple equity and simple debt. Now, owners versus creditors. Once you buy the equity shares of a company, you become the owners of the company. That is, you participate in the ownership of a company. But when you actually buy, bonds, debentures of a particular company, you do not become the owners. Rather, you become the creditors. ठीक है, कंपनी के लिए आप कौन हो? क्रेडिटर्स, जिससे उन्होंने उधार पे पैसे लिए. ठीक है, वोटिंग राइट्स. Equity shareholders get voting right, but debt holders do not get any sort of voting right, and there is no sort of participation that they get in the company. Liquidity. What do you think? Which security is more liquid, the equity or the debt? Of course, equity. Why? Because equity has a very well established market. ठीक है, चाहे आप इंडियन स्टॉक मार्केट देखो या कोई सी भी मार्केट देखो, it is very liquid. And of course, debt is also liquid, but to some extent. Now, this equity unit will consist of 3 things at home: the fundamental analysis, the technical analysis, and efficient market hypothesis. Today, we are going to cover this. In the later videos, we will be covering this, and after these topics, we will be doing the valuation too. Okay. Now, what is fundamental analysis? The basic assumption of fundamental analysis is that you are investing in the long run. If you wanted to invest in a short run, you would have invested, you would have actually analyzed your securities using the technical analysis and not the fundamental analysis. So the basic assumption that you need to keep in mind is that the fundamental analysis is used when you are investing for a very long period of time. Okay? Now let's understand with the help of example. Today, you have a share whose value is 200. Okay, the share price of a particular, let's say company A share is 200. But when you calculate the intrinsic value of that particular security, it came out to be 250. What do you think? Is it overpriced or underpriced? To understand this, you need to actually understand the meaning of intrinsic value. What is it? Intrinsic value means the present value of all future cash flow. Let's say आपने एक securities में invest किया where you are expecting at least a return of 15%, and you got to know कि तुम्हें dividend मिलने वाला है 20 and after few years you will redeem it at 200 plus 20 for that particular year. So you will actually, discount all these cash flows at a given expected return, and you will calculate the present value. You will just sum it up. So the sum that you will get of all the present value is called the intrinsic value of that particular asset. Okay, it might be in the form of dividend or it might be in the form of capital gain. Maybe this is possible, 200 की जगह I sell it for 250. ठीक है, what do you think ये सब किस पे depend करेगा? This will all depend upon the company's profitability. And company's profitability किस पे depend करेगी? It will depend upon what kind of decision a company will take. ठीक है, क्या उसके future prospects है, क्या उसके future goals है, how it is, responding to the changing environment. So there are lots of external as well as internal factors on which my profitability of the company will depend upon, and basically on that factors these cash flows will also depend. Okay, now let's go back to the original question that today I want to buy the share of company A at 200, but it comes out that the intrinsic value of the share is 250. Do you think it is good to invest in such kind of security? Yes. Why? Because in the long run, the intrinsic value that I am aiming is 250, and today share price is 200. In the long run, it will definitely happen that intrinsic value will become equal to the fair value of the share. So I will definitely gain of the 50. So yes, today the share price is underpriced, and hence I should definitely buy such kind of shares. Okay, so let's read whatever is written. Fundamental analysis is based on the premise that in the long run, the true or the fair value of equity is equal to the intrinsic value of the share. And how do you calculate the intrinsic value? Is present value of all future cash flow that you have expected from your particular investment. Now, these cash flows could be in form of dividend and the capital gain. And what factors would determine my capital gain and dividend would depend upon the profitability of the company and how it is, what are the future goals and objectives of that particular company. Same thing, if intrinsic value is more than the current value of market price of a share, what did I say? If 250 is greater than the 200, the share is underpriced and you should definitely buy it. But if intrinsic value is less than, let's say 150, 200, then it is definitely overpriced. Now, there are two kinds of, approaches that you can follow in order to do the fundamental analysis. The first is top down and the second is bottom up. Top down में क्या होता है? Top down में, first of all, you pick up a particular economy. Okay? Let's say इंडिया, ठीक है, आपने इंडिया की इकोनॉमी उठाई, then you listed down various industries. Let's say you automobile, FMCG, and telecommunication, and other various industries that you picked it up. Now, in that particular industry, you understood the, you listed the companies. And then you are analyzing the companies. So in the top-down approach, what I am doing, I am first of all understanding the economy of that particular country. I am understanding the industries, and then I am moving on to the company. Bottom up में क्या लगता है? Of course, the reverse psychology, ठीक है? Of course, the reverse thing would happen. First of all, I will analyze the company, then I will analyze the industry, and then finally my economy. Do you think this is more useful or this is more useful? Of course, this is more useful. Why? Once you have analyzed the company and then you are analyzing the economy, it does not make any sense because ultimately आपको क्या करना है? आपको company की future expected cash flows चाहिए to calculate the incentive value. ठीक है? तो आप फिर एक बार once you have analyzed the company, what is the need of then you study the economy. So it is better to always follow the top-down approach. Then again, what are the factors on which my fundamental analysis is done is, let's say what I have done is called top-down economic analysis, industry analysis, and company analysis. इसको detail में we will study one by one. Economic analysis क्या होता है? Economic analysis is nothing but जो economy में factors exist कर रहे हैं उन्हें हम detail में study करें. क्यों? क्योंकि I need to understand that how these factors of the economy are impacting my stock market. ठीक है? तो economic analysis is nothing but the study of various economy-wide factors influencing the stock market. It will act as a tool to understand the general direction of the economy and deciding about the right time to invest. Now, what do you think is the right time to invest? Economy goes through certain phases. What are those phases? Is it boom, recession, recovery, depression? Okay? So there is a time that you should invest in the particular kind of company. Okay, so economic analysis will help you to understand that what is that particular right time that you should invest in that particular company. Okay, now first of all, we need to understand the concept of economic analysis. Economic analysis is nothing but the study of the wide factors of the economy. Why do you think we need to understand the factors of the economy? Because directly or indirectly it is affecting my stock market. So we need to understand the economic analysis. We need to understand the position of our economy, okay, in order to decide what is the right time to invest in the market. Okay, now the first topic is economic analysis. Economic analysis is nothing but it is just the study of economic wide factors influencing the stock market. Why do you actually think the investor would do this? Investors, actually the huge investors, like institutional investors, do this kind of analysis because they need to understand the economy of a particular country. They are the people who are investing in different kind of countries. Okay, and they need to understand the economy of each country in order to decide what is the right time to invest in that particular country. It is mainly done by huge institutional investors having the huge securities in their portfolio, especially the geographical diversification. Okay, now what are the factors that would influence my economy and directly or indirectly my stock market? The first is the GDP growth rate. What do you think is the GDP? Gross domestic product refers to the total value of goods and services that are produced in the economy during a given time period. Okay, so this is the definition of the GDP. Now, why do you think GDP is important? GDP is important because it will help me to determine what is the overall state of an economy. Is my economy going through recession? Because there has been a drastic fall in the GDP of my economy. ठीक है, whether is it improving because मेरी GDP ऊपर जा रही है, I can say it is improving. अच्छा, what do you think investors के लिए what is better, the falling GDP or an increasing GDP? Of course, an increasing GDP. Why? Because as the GDP will rise, the investment will rise, the number of investors will rise, and it will positively impact my stock market. Now, the second is inflation. What is inflation? Inflation is nothing but the purchasing power of the customer. How do you think, inflation would influence my stock market? It would affect my stock market in a negative direction. If my inflation is rising, मेरी stock market opposite react करेगी. Why? See, let's say you were earning 100 rupees earlier, you were spending 80 rupees and you were saving and investing 20 rupees. Okay, let's say you invest 10 and you save 10. Now what happens, due to the inflation in the economy, you still earn 100 rupees, but you need to spend at least 90 rupees in order to buy the same kind of goods and services that you were buying for the 80 rupees. You will save 5 and you will invest 5. What did that investor do? Investor ने अपनी जो investment है वो कम कर दी. अब if each and every investor follow this कि during the time of inflation you will definitely reduce your investment amount and hence it will impact my stock market. The third factor is the interest rate. Interest rate is again affecting my economy in an adverse manner. Why? Because if my interest rate are rising, it indicates two things. First of all, that the economy has very tight monetary policy. Okay? And second of all, my borrowing cost would definitely rise. Again, let's understand with an example. Let's say you have 1,000 rupees in your pocket. Okay? And you borrow 500 rupees more in order to fulfill your requirements. Out of 1,500, you spend 1,000 on your day-to-day requirements and you invested 500 rupees. Earlier, you were paying 10% of interest. Now, the interest has actually risen to 20%. इतना आता नहीं है. Just taking hypothetically, what will you do? You will say, यार मैं 500 करा था, at least I should borrow little less now. 200 और कुछ तो इन्वेस्ट होंगे कि यार I should not actually borrow. ठीक है, तो the amount of investment is getting affected adversely as my interest rates are rising. So hence, increasing interest rate is a kind of a signal that your investments in the stock market would reduce, leading to the business expansion. अगर देखो investment नहीं होगा तो business expand कैसे करेंगे? It is the major source of income. ठीक है, तो अगर लोग इन्वेस्ट नहीं करेंगे, फ्यूचर प्रोस्पेक्ट्स नहीं होंगे और बिजनेस में एक्सपेंशन भी it would be very 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 limited. Hence it would affect my stock market adversely. Now let's move on to the next factor is external sector. External factor is talking about the globalization. ग्लोबलाइजेशन जब भी बात करते हैं हम बीओपी की बात करते हैं. बीओपी क्या होता है? बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट. व्हाट इज इट? इट इज नथिंग बट स्टेटमेंट ऑफ रिसीट्स एंड पेमेंट. ठीक है, किसके बीच में? इन अ गिवन कंट्री एंड टू द रेस्ट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. In chapter in class 12 we have studied BOP is further divided into current account and capital account. एंड अगर करंट अकाउंट में डेफिसिट आता है तो इट क्रिएट्स अ pressure of exchange rates, and hence it is again an indicator that economy is falling. Drastic changes in the economy, downward changes in the economy. तो hence external factors अगर अच्छे नहीं है, BOP account या current account में deficit है, तो it would impact my stock market once again. The infrastructure. Infrastructure is again an important factor. Why? If your country has very good, network of roads, electricity, telecommunication, then your country is growing. It is at a very good production level. मतलब अगर infrastructure अच्छा होगा तो companies would be able to produce at a good level and at continuous level. ठीक है, तो बाहर के institution investors को it seems to be quite attractive thing that this is the actually basic requirement to where should I actually invest. And hence infrastructure अगर अच्छा होगा stock market अच्छा improve करेगा because it will attract more and more of institution investors. But अगर infrastructure ही खराब होगा, it will not attract your investors, and hence stock market will not be very nicely performing. Last, second last is the employment. What do you think? Employment अगर country में अच्छा है, it is like 100 or 100% employment, there is no unemployment in the country. Of course, your country is operating at a very efficient level. अगर country में बहुत ही ज़्यादा unemployment है, ठीक है, then it is an indicator that your country is not operating at a full capacity. ठीक है, तो it will have an adverse impact on your stock market. The last is the government's economic policy. Government's economic policy is an indicator कि country future में कहाँ जाने वाली है, कैसे जाने वाली है, what are the future prospects of the company. How did I say that? Because government policies के अंदर क्या क्या आता है? Government policies के अंदर तुम्हारा fiscal policy, monetary policy, tax policy, foreign exchange trade policy. So how government is flexible, how government is approaching these policies shows my future prospects of a economy, and hence it would be better अगर company government थोड़ी flexible policies बनाए तो it would be better for the economy, it would be actually better for the investors to invest in. अब अगर government इतने ज़्यादा strict tax policies ला दे कि इतने high tax rates, तो it will definitely demotivate investors to invest your economy. Okay, now the industry's life cycle, the second factor, can be classified on the basis of their stage in the industry life. मतलब जो हमारी industry है वो किस stage पे? Is it at the startup age? Is it at the growth stage? Or is it at the maturity or the declining? What do you think would be the position of an industry in a startup age? स्टार्टअप एज में क्या होता है? स्टार्टअप एज में तुम्हारे न्यू प्रोडक्ट्स आ रहे होते हैं, ठीक है, तुम्हारी न्यू टेक्नोलॉजी आ रही होती है, लेट्स से स्मार्टफोन्स, ठीक है, तो इसमें बहुत ही ज्यादा डिफिकल्ट होता है टू प्रिडिक्ट कि एक्चुअल में मार्केट लीडर कौन बनेगा, ठीक है, बिकॉज हर दिन कोई ना कोई नई फर्म आ रही होती है एंड एवरी इंडस्ट्री इज ट्राइंग टू बिकम द मार्केट लीडर एंड it is actually trying its best to capture the largest market share. जितना market share वो gain कर सकती है, it tries to gain. So इस stage पे we are witnessing very rapid and increasing growth. क्यों? क्योंकि यहाँ पे बहुत ही ज़्यादा डिमांड ज़्यादा होती है. Whenever there is a new product in the market, उसकी डिमांड एकदम एक्साइटमेंट ज़्यादा हो जाती है, ठीक है. Now, the growth stage. Growth stage is considered to be a bit stable growth in this industry. ठीक है, ये consolidation stage भी बोलते हैं इसे हम, ठीक है. इसमें तुम्हारी कंपनी के higher profits होते हैं and higher returns वो investor को usually promise करते हैं because अभी growth हो रही होती है, profits ज़्यादा हो रहे होते हैं, ठीक है. Maturity is when the product demand starts declining, लेकिन at a decreasing rate. Not at a very increasing rate, but at a decreasing rate. ठीक है. And at the end of this stage, मतलब जो तुम्हारा maturity stage over होने वाला होता है, this is, let's say, this is your startup age, this is the growth age, ये तुम्हारा maturity age आ गया, ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे क्या होता है, यू रीच अ सैचुरेशन पॉइंट व्हेन योर डिमांड ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर प्रोडक्ट इज मैक्सिमम। ठीक है, एंड यहाँ पे तुम्हारा फर्दर ग्रोथ नहीं होती है, इट इज द मैक्सिमम stage that you have reached. Finally, the declining stage. Declining is when the your product demand starts declining. Let's say आज के डेट में these are your LCDs. ठीक है, so this is how you need to analyze कि your industry isn't finally in which stage. The third is the nature of the product. अब डिपेंड करता है योर प्रोडक्ट दैट यू आर इन डीलिंग इज इट रॉ मटेरियल इंडस्ट्री और इट इज एंड प्रोडक्ट। बिकॉज अगर तुम रॉ मटेरियल दे रहे हो तो जो फाइनल प्रोडक्ट में यूज होता है अगर वो बढ़ रहा होगा देन ओनली योर रॉ मटेरियल डिमांड विल इंक्रीज। तो इट इज डायरेक्टली लिंक्ड टू द एंड प्रोडक्ट। अगर तुम एंड प्रोडक्ट दे रहे हो तो वो यू विल डिटरमाइन। ठीक है, लेट्स से स्पेयर पार्ट्स, ऑटोमोबाइल्स, यू आर डीलिंग इन दी टायर्स। तो जैसे जैसे तुम्हारी कार्स की डिमांड बढ़ेगी वैसे वैसे तुम्हारी टायर की इंडस्ट्री का ग्रोथ होगा। सो स्पेयर पार्ट्स में डील करो, इट विल डिपेंड अपॉन द एंड प्रोडक्ट की उसकी डिमांड कैसी चल रही है मार्केट में। ठीक है, दैट वुड बी यूज्ड टू एनालाइज योर इंडस्ट्री। नाउ नेचर ऑफ कॉम्पिटिशन। नेचर ऑफ कॉम्पिटिशन क्लास 12th में पढ़ा था, परफेक्ट कॉम्पिटिशन, मोनोपोलिस्टिक, ऑलिगोपोली एंड मोनोपोली। ठीक है, तो तुम्हारी इंडस्ट्री कौन सी मार्केट में एग्जिस्ट कर रही है, कौन सी, हाउ मेनी कॉम्पिटिटर्स आर देयर। इंडस्ट्रीज पॉलिसी ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट, देयर आर फ्यू इंडस्ट्रीज हु गेट टैक्स कंसेशंस फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट। ठीक है, लेट्स से योर कौन सी मिलती है तुम्हारी subsidies, oil and gas, biotechnology. These are the industries that get tax concessions, ठीक है, from the government. But there are few industries who suffer very heavy taxes. ठीक है. The next is the labor condition. Let's say if you are dealing, if there is an industry जो बहुत ही ज्यादा labor intensive है, let's say your agriculture, this will depend upon the labor. कैसी लेबर है, किस टाइप की लेबर है, इज इट चीपली अवेलेबल, ट्रेड यूनियंस बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग तो नहीं है। ठीक है, सो लेट्स से ऑटोमोबाइल्स। ऑटोमोबाइल्स आर लेस लेबर इंटेंसिव, sorry, automobiles are actually less labor intensive but as compared to the agriculture. Finally, the traditional versus new economy industries. Traditional industries are your FMCG, construction, capital goods, but जब हम new economy industries की बात करते हैं, we are talking about the IT, telecommunication and financial services. जो traditional services है, उसमें चाहे returns low हो, but they are consistent. ठीक है, लेकिन जो हमारी new economic industries है, इसमें returns high है, लेकिन these are actually very volatile in nature. ठीक है, इनके बहुत ही ज्यादा फ्लक्चुएट करते हुए रहते हैं। सो दीज आर दी फैक्टर्स यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड इन ऑर्डर टू डू द इंडस्ट्री एनालिसिस। आई डोंट थिंक ऐसे बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है, बट यू नीड टू जस्ट अंडरस्टैंड कि एक बार रीड किया हो, यू विल बी एबल टू राइट बेटर इन द एग्जाम। नाउ वंस वी हैव डन द इकोनॉमी एनालिसिस, we moved on to industry analysis, and now finally we are moving on to the company analysis. Company analysis will tell me कि कंपनी एक्चुअली कैसे जो फ्यूचर कैश फ्लोस है, दिस विल हेल्प मी टू एनालाइज थ्रू दी कंपनी एनालिसिस। बिकॉज हमारा अल्टीमेट ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या था, दैट वी हैव टू फाइंड दी प्रेजेंट वैल्यू ऑफ द फ्यूचर कैश फ्लोस, मतलब उसका हमें निकाल देते, विच वॉज इन द फॉर्म ऑफ डिविडेंड एंड दी कैपिटल गेन। सो दिस वुड अल्टीमेटली डिपेंड अपॉन दी कंपनी की पॉलिसी क्या डिपेंड डिविडेंड्स दे रही है नहीं दे रही। ठीक है, एंड इसके पास्ट ट्रेंड्स क्या रह चुके हैं, हाउ डिड इट एक्चुअली डिस्ट्रीब्यूट द डिविडेंड्स। लेट्स से इफ यू इन्वेस्ट इन द आईटी इंडस्ट्री, ठीक है, तुमने इंडस्ट्री डिसाइड कर ली आईटी, अब तुम्हें ये डिसाइड करना है यार मैं विप्रो चूज करूं या मैं इन्फोसिस चूज करूं या मैं एचसीएल चूज करूं या मैं टीसीएस चूज करूं। सो दिस इज हाउ यू नीड टू डू द कंपनी एनालिसिस। ओके, there are three factors that you can actually use to do the company analysis. The first is the management and the corporate governance. If the company has a very good management, corporate governance क्या होता है? Corporate governance is a system through which company is directed and controlled. अगर company का management and corporate governance अच्छा हुआ, there is a possibility that company may be highly profitable. ठीक है, So it would attract the investor if it is highly profitable, and if it has a good management, good corporate governance, it would be at a better position. Product differentiation. Now there are two companies in the same industries that is providing the same goods, same kind of goods, but C आके differentiate कर गया, innovations ले आया, नए features ले आया उसी product में, ठीक है? तो क्या हो गया? That stands at a better position than A and B. So also यहाँ पे branding भी बहुत ज़्यादा useful होती है, ठीक है? Sometimes people go behind the brand name, and it helps the company to earn the better profits. The third is the financial ratio analysis. Financial ratios is when you use the financial ratios in order to analyze the company. Okay. So there are few financial ratios that you need to see when you analyze the company. Ye sab we have done, we all know return on equity, EPS, PE ratio, book equity to market equity ratio, liquidity ratio, how liquid is your company. इसमें हम current assets upon current liability, quick assets upon current liability, long-term solvency, operating efficiency, and operating and financial leverage. ठीक है? In case you don't know these formulas, you can just comment on this particular video. I will forward you a particular PDF where you can find all these formulas, okay, in a single sheet. Now, thank you for watching this video. Finally, this chapter is over. Okay, ये इतना ही chapter था. And next video, we will cover the technical analysis. And don't forget to share and subscribe. This is the kind of data I get when I open my analytics section. 92% of people are actually not subscribed to my channel, and only 7.5 people are subscribed. So I request you to subscribe to my channel and share with your friends. Thank you.